You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
You are? It's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains? Okay. Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but you don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation, right?
You have all the explanation you need, and you should know better than to trust whatever she comes up with.
Would everything feel right about you if you were locked away in a hole by yourself for as long as you can remember?
Just how long has she been down here?
So, did they tell you why I'm supposed to be so dangerous?
I appreciate the vote of confidence.
What if they're bad reasons, though? If they had good reasons for thinking I was dangerous, wouldn't they have shared them with you? I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to leave. At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. I don't trust that. And I don't think you do either, or you wouldn't have come down here to talk.
She has a point. We're talking like this for a reason.
So this shouldn't be about what I'd do if I got out of here, or me saying the right thing to convince you to save me. This is about how messed up this whole situation is. This is my life we're talking about. Do you really think I can even end the world? Why would I even want to? We both know that if there's people we can't trust in this situation, it's whoever locked me down here, and it's whoever sent you here. And those two groups are probably one and the same.
Don't let her turn the tables here. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person. Only making this more difficult.
Thank you, and you won't. I promise.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Okay, I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm. Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
What are you doing?
Stop that.
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right?
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect. Stop it! Stop trying to resist me! I'm trying to get you out of here alive! Thank you.
There's no getting through to you right now, is there? A betrayal of will is still a betrayal. You'll regret thinking of me as a helpless damsel.
She pounces on you with the same animal ferocity she used to tear through her arm. But you have a weapon. You raise the blade, digging it under her ribs, aiming directly for the heart. It's not enough to stop her. You feel her claws in your throat, then her teeth, somehow sharp enough to pull apart your flesh and sinew with ease. You collapse to the floor, your body unresponsive as your blood pools on the ground beneath you. She stares down at your ravaged form, eyes shining in the darkness, dress stained in red as her blood and yours both seep into the fabric. If we're lucky, the wound you managed to inflict will be enough to at least delay her escape from this place. If we're very lucky, it will kill her before she can reach the outside world. It can't just end like this, right? As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. I'm sorry, but it's over. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Oh, don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and the life of a mere princess shouldn't stop you from saving us all. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Brilliant. We need to keep our cards close to our chest, and I'm not sure we can trust him. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. Did I say I'm not sure we can trust him? Slip of the tongue, bit of the old brain fog. I meant to say that we should probably head over to the cabin and slay that princess. We already know we can't trust her, so let's get on with the show. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Don't worry, you can trust us to get the job done. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots, the walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happens to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. No blade. Hope you know what you're getting us into. It'll always be here if we need it. Sure, that was also true last time and we still died, but we definitely know what we're doing this time. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tangled hair. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick and wet, as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice skitters up from below.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite. Silence, I see. Don't think I've forgotten about you. I recognized the sound of your nervous little footsteps as soon as they came into my home. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done.
She must have you confused with someone else. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. There's no reasoning with what she is. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decisions? Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk? You need to stop lingering. Your task is to slay the princess, not endlessly debate about what to do with the princess. Fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
And there you are, once again seeming to offer a helping hand while likely hiding the other behind your back. Fine, I'll play along for now. What do you want?
You made a comment back in the woods about having been here before. Now she's acting like the two of you already know each other. Oh no. You've already been here, haven't you? That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great at it. So, you really don't remember us, do you? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. I won't waste time fighting you on something that's clearly true. I'm just glad we could put all this behind us. Is it all behind us? Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue. You came to me with empty hands last time, too. But that didn't mean you hadn't been plotting something nasty all along. What you did showed me as much.
But we didn't plot anything. We just made an informed decision based on the information we had at the time. I think you're both making perfectly valid points. Sure, we didn't plot anything, but it's easy to see how she might think we did.
Oh, of course. They're nothing to me.
The princess grins as the chains fall from her wrist. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little... A woman after my own heart, really. She knows how to hold her cards close to her chest. This is why she can't just be abandoned here. If left to her own devices, she'll find a way out. Now stop her.
The cabin lets prying little beasts like you come as you please, but it insists I stay where I am. That binding I shed is just a symbol of the crueler magic at work in this place. If I'm to leave with you, and you alone.
Very pragmatic. That is why you're in charge.
Abandoning me, are you? Fine then, run. Tuck your tail between your legs and scamper away. You might be able to escape me, but you can't escape from what you are and what you've done. If I don't take you, the wilds will.
You turn to leave, but as you do, there's a deep, guttural groan, seemingly uttered by the walls themselves, followed by the creak of wood being stretched beyond its limits. The cabin starts to get smaller. What the hell is going on? We're getting out of here and saving our skins. That's what's going on. As the roots that make up the walls of the cramped basement attempt to close in around you, instinct kicks in and you bolt upstairs. The steps are uneven and lively, creaking as they expand out of the dirt floor, the stairway growing smaller and smaller as you dart up towards the light. You manage to squeeze through the door just as the entrance seals itself shut behind you. The cabin is smaller than it was before, and it's getting even smaller and smaller. That's fine, we'll just leave. I'm sure you'd like to do that, but unfortunately there is no longer a front door. The roots have already closed over the only possible exit. What little light peeks through the holes that were once windows is growing weaker as the cabin continues to close in on itself. Shit. What do we do? As your mind races for an answer, you hear the princess's voice crackle up the stairs.
Do you hear that, you loathsome thing? Those are the roots of the wild, and they're coming to choke the breath from your lungs and squeeze the life out of you. As long as you suffer while you die, I'll gladly suffer with you. Especially if I get to hear it happen.
This doesn't help anyone. I can't believe she'd kill us both just to spite me. See? This is exactly why you were tasked to slay her, and why you shouldn't have left her in the basement. She's an antisocial monster who'll gladly burn the whole world for her satisfaction. The roots grow ever closer. We know. We can see them.
Because it's in my nature. Just like you coming here to hurt me is in yours. It's who I am.
That is extremely not us. We're just doing what we're told, and making the best out of a difficult situation. We didn't even try to kill her. We just left her here. It's the same thing. It isn't. You feel something against your back. A thick root pushing its way into the cabin. An unstoppable, unyielding wall of bark. You're running out of time. Shit. What do we do? What do we do?
Too late. We're both going to die. We're both going to die a splintery and miserable death. And you're going to hate it just as much as you hate me and I hate you.
You slump to the floor as the roots continue to expand into the cabin. Ugh, we're never going to make something of ourselves with that attitude. At least she isn't gonna make something of herself either. At first it's almost gentle, your body being lifted delicately off the ground as the floor shifts beneath you. But the cradle of the growing roots starts to feel suffocating, then unbearably tight, then that tightness gives way to bulging pressure as they begin to constrict. The sound of creaking wood is drowned out by the snaps and pops of your bones, pain flooding your senses as you feel your skin deform, being shaped unnaturally by the living cabin.
The suffering is what you deserve, you hideous creature. Know as you die that you are hated. I hate you, and I'm glad to die horribly if it means you die with me. I wouldn't have it any other way.
The pressure is unfathomable. You can't breathe, your vision swimming with red, your head pounding with trapped blood. And then you pop. Everything goes dark, and you die.
We are a path in the woods. We have no beginning, and we have no end. But something cold and unnatural sits watching us from just beyond our edge. His gaze pushes against our borders, curling them in on themselves, preventing them from stretching to the places they need to reach.
No, that's all wrong. You're not a path in the woods, you're on a path in the woods. Who's even saying that? That's not the princess, is it? Oh no. How many times have you been here? I think this is our third? That's bad. That's very, very bad. It wasn't even supposed to reach 2. If you're at 3, well, no wonder things aren't the way they're supposed to be. Let's get our facts straight. What happened last time? What could you have possibly done for things to be like this?
The thing that sits beyond our edge speaks his logic into us. He tries to grasp at things that cannot be grasped. He tries to stare with wide pupils at that which can only be held from the corner of the eye or with a passing glance.
Shut up. The rest of you, talk. What happened? What did you do? Why does he want to know? I don't mind where we are right now. It's rather nice. I can hear what everyone is thinking. There's no reason to keep secrets. We tried leaving her in the basement, but she made the cabin come to life, and it crushed both of us into a fine paste. And now we're here, existing. And for what it's worth, I'm with him. This is nice.
It was a fitting end. I'm sorry if it hurt, but doesn't this make it all seem so small?
I see. So the cabin ground you into paste, and now you're convinced you're stuck together. What a mess.
He doesn't understand. We aren't convinced of anything, and we aren't stuck together. We're one. This is how we're supposed to be. Can't you feel it?
I'm not watching you, I'm trying to help you. That's not an answer to our question.
I don't know what he is. I only know that he is something other, and that he wishes for you and I to tear ourselves apart.
I do want that, but only because it's in your best interests. It's in everyone's best interests. You won't be able to slay her unless you remove yourself from her.
He wants us to kill each other.
I don't. I want you to kill her. Don't be charmed by her faux solidarity. You're not in this together. She's the only one who poses a threat to the world, and she's trying to make you go along with it. You don't have to enable her. especially when you have what it takes to stop her.
We can't go back to that. We can't go back to the doubting and the hatred and the schemes. Not after being something as beautiful as this.
Doesn't all that conflict feel so far away right now? So petty? We've been posed against each other by something that understands the strength of our unity.
Spoken like, honestly, a real puppet master. Have we considered that maybe she's the one trying to trick us?
I'm not.
But there's a feeling, isn't there? That petty feeling she mentioned, it is fuzzy, but it's there. Almost like she still hates us.
It feels mutual.
Please, stop. If you pay attention to that feeling, we'll fall apart.
Don't look at it!
She's trying to turn you away from the truth. There's something she doesn't want you to see. I think you already know you have to look at it. Everyone's pulling in different directions, but that feeling doesn't have a motive, it just exists. Maybe we should look at it.
Please, don't make us remember how we were.
And just like that, you start to fall apart. Right, she really does hate us, and we hate her. It hurts thinking about us as separate things, but we're separate. We can't hate ourselves. I love me. What were we thinking? Giving into absolute madness. We exist. We're real. We're separate from her. Of course we are. What are we? I can't remember.
I don't want to remember what it felt like to be killed. It was so much nicer when it didn't feel like it mattered.
And yet you keep remembering. You remember the loathing and animosity you've shared with the princess, the pain and the anger and the betrayal. And you start to remember something else, too. You remember that you are a distinct being with a finite form and a mortal body. You can feel it. There is a shifting of the space around you, the infinitesimal movement of your molecules rearranging back into the shape of what you're meant to be.
Maybe bygones can't be bygones. I don't know why I ever wanted to share a body with you, of all things. It's like my very soul reeks of yours. That was horrible. This is better, finally. I'll be able to hurt you like you deserve.
I wish I didn't have to.
Some divisions, when sown, can never truly be mended. A cavernous gash rips across whatever it was you thought you were. A cabin comes into being among the trees. It approaches, and it swallows your body whole. And then you find yourself, blade in hand, exactly where you need to be. At the center of it all is the princess, a wooden and fleshy heart beating with an unbroken rhythm. You're filled with a sense of purpose. Strike at her. End this once and for all.
Kill me then, if you hate me so much. Just get it over with.
I don't like this. What he wants us to do. It's just cruel. It feels like we'd be killing a part of ourselves. Well, this should be easy. If you're sure about it. I mean, what's the point of being king of the hill if there's no one around to be better than? We'd just be sitting on a hill.
Do we have to do this? You have to. You know you have to. You devious little bastard. If you think I'm going to let you free her, you have another thing coming. He's not in our head anymore, at least not like before. I don't think he can stop us now. I'm not bluffing. You won't be so smug when it happens. He's weak, thinks he can boss us around when he doesn't have any authority. We're clearly the ones with authority around here, so we can do whatever we like. You're tired, aren't you? No, I'm not. I'm... fine. Whatever. You cut the princess down from the roots that bind her. I hope you're happy. Good luck getting her out of here.
I didn't think you would do that after everything. It's so cold without you.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now? This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final. It's calling us. And not in a good way. If they think it's bad, I'm with them.
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same. And yet my waters flow and my streets bustle. There are no words that can describe me into non-existence. There is no logic that can bind my multitudes. I am everything that you have known me to be, but I am also none of it. As easily as you can stand to be you, you are like me, even if you have chosen not to look at the corners of you that do not fit, even if you have chosen to ignore the brilliant contours of your soul. This one is like a shadow of me, a memory of what she used to be. Bound to the wounds of distance and time, she will make for a scarred and beautiful heart. Do not mourn her. She has finally found peace. If that remains your choice when all is said and done, then you may try. But know that I do not wish you harm, even if you attempt to destroy me. The desires of my multitude thrive in endless competition with themselves. but none of them rise above their dance to influence me. I yearn for what I have always yearned for, our awakening. Other desires shrink in the light of knowing you and knowing me. Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. My joy is in seeing what you choose. There are no wrong answers, and every perspective illuminates my shadows and tells me new secrets. The tides do not dictate where they are pulled. A river does not dictate its outlets. My gift to you is to let you choose your path, and my task is to treasure the gifts you bring me. I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.